Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and as a bit of a request, I know I said in my last video a few people wanted me to do something like a bit of a woodworky type video. I would do, and a couple of people have said would I, so yeah, I'm going to do a basic woodworking video. Now I'll say straight away, this is not a tutorial on how to do woodworking. I'm not really a professional carpenter or anything like that. I do little bits and bats in my job, basically. I can put stud walling up and things like that, but this is just, well, obviously I can do little bits and bats. I made this bench, I made all the bits in here, I made this summer house, workshop that we're in here now, so I consider myself reasonably handy, but I'm not like time served or anything like that in the woodworking industry. I got all my skills building stage sets many years ago, and props and things like that. That's basically what I used to do a long time ago. Anyway, what I thought we'd do is, first of all, I'm not going off any like major plan here. Basically how I work, because I'm working completely with salvage materials. I'm not intending really to go out and get anything for this project. I have ordered online from eBay a set of 4 casters, 2 lock-in and 2 standard casters, 75mm ones. It should be well up to the job of this little stand. Obviously, I haven't got them yet. They're due here either tomorrow or the day after. But I thought I'd start doing the filming of the video, preemptively, because there's going to be a fair bit to do. And first of all, I'm trying to see what it's like actually filming a video down here in my new workshop, because I do have plans to do some more videos down here if it does actually work out away. I mean, more perhaps repairing tools and that kind of thing. Because I pick things up, I like picking up anything that people have thrown away and either getting them working or repurposing them or doing something with them. And this is in that kind of ilk. I've got a load of old, these, I'll show you. I've got a load of these old fence posts like this. This is what we're basically going to make the entire little sort of stand out of. I'll just put that down for now. And what I'll do is I'm going to zoom you in on this piece of paper, and we can have a look. A rough idea of what I'm going to build, and then what we'll do is we'll have an assessment of this scrap timber we've got, and basically see whether we can actually make what we want out of it. So I'll get you zoomed in on this bit of paper, and we can do a bit of scribbling, Big Clive style, really. Ooh, let me get you in. There's not going to be a lot of editing or stuff. I might have to do some editing because there will be multiple takes, and I only have this one, the one camera. But hopefully you can see that. And hopefully the lighting's going to be all right as well. Let's see if we can get that in shot a bit better and see which way up we're going. Basically, the whole point is I've got my compound miter saw, and at the moment I've just got it sat on the end of the bench over there, and that's not the most convenient place, so I want to be able to use the bench for multiple things, really. So the best thing is to have it on a movable stand that can live in the corner over here, basically, and I can wheel it out when I need it. And I also have a large chop saw, which I use more for cutting like metal. It's not as versatile as this, and it would be nice to be able to take this off and swap that out if I'm wanting to cut like box section steel or anything like that. So obviously, with that in mind, it can't be some little flimsy thing. It has to be something that's fairly robust. So what I was thinking, seeing I've got them square fence posts, what I were looking at doing is basically, if we've got, I don't know how this is going to, I'm going to draw this now. So we've got basically, we're going to have a top like that. Just square top, and we'll have 4 legs coming down. Obviously there'll be one at the back there, and these will be made out of them. Well, hopefully I'm going to try and make the whole thing out of these fence posts. So we've got the 4 substantial legs coming down like that. Then what I plan to do is put a shelf in the middle there, like that. Because all my big power tools are 110 volts, so it'd be nice if I've got a shelf there. I can actually put the 110 volt transformer down there, and it can be wheeled around with the actual table. And if I've got enough timber to do it, I might even put a third just useful shelf at the bottom there before the casters. This is all down to whether we've got enough timber, because I'm not going out buying any timber for this. I'm purely going to do it with what timber I've got lying around at home here. The only thing I've actually sent out for is them casters. Like I said, I haven't even had to go out for them. They're eBay, and like I said, they're being delivered. So it is kind of a lockdown project. Can I make all this in a reasonable way without actually having to go out and buy any hardware that I have to go out to the shop for? So that does mean that we're limited on screws, we're limited on resources and things we can actually do with this. Actually, I think I've probably run out of wood glue at this moment. I can't find any anyway. So ideally I'd be gluing all the joints together, but I don't think we're going to be gluing. I think it's just going to be being held together with screws. If I can find some wood glue while I wander around, then fair enough, we'll stick some wood glue in there as well. Right, so I think the next thing we need to do is we'll get the timber out, and we'll have a look, see what we can actually do with the timber that we've got. So what I'll probably do, I'll just pause you a minute and see if I can get you zoomed out a bit, and we can have a look at the 4 big timbers that I've got for the to make the legs and to make as much of this as we can do. So I'll be back in a sec when I've got you where I need you to be. Okay, well, the first thing we're going to have to do before we can even get these on the bench and look at de-screwing them is actually get these fence spikes off the bottom. Now I was hoping they'd just be screwed on. If I look round here, I was expecting them to just be have a few screws through, but it looks like they actually cut into the wood. So, oops, these could be a bit of fun to actually get off. I'll get a big hammer and we'll see if we can perhaps just knock them free. Let's have a go. Oops. We might have to keep turning them around like this. It has moved actually, if we look there. It has shifted a little bit, so with any luck, they are moving. I don't want to bash the wood up too much. See, every time I hit it like that, I'm gouging into the wood, which I didn't really want to do. I wonder if I can find an old chisel or something to bash against. Just bear with me a sec. Right, what I've got a bit of scrap wood here. I wonder if I can use that just against there, so I can bash against that, and I'm not going to be perhaps knocking the wood up quite so much. Let's give that a try. Yeah, it is moving, but we just have to keep going round it like this. Probably speed this footage up, I think. That's dug in there. Let's try it with this. That works. Yeah, that seems to be working now. on this door. It keeps swinging open on me. It's still on the to-do list, that. As you can see, that's coming out now. Oops. You can see the grooves there, it's cutting in where that's how it's actually been fitted. They don't use screws, they have like grooves there that lock into the wood. So keep on doing this, hopefully it should just come off. Yeah, it's starting to come loose that now. Look. There we are. I think we're nearly there. And we're off. So there we go, that's that extracted. I've just got 3 more of them to do now like that. So I won't bore you with that. We'll come back as soon as I've got those other 3 end pieces off and we can have an actual final look at the wood we're going to be using. So back very, very shortly. Right, as we can see, I managed to get all the metal ends off it, so these are pretty much ready to see if we can get all the screws out of them. Then we can start measuring them up and see if we can cut this stuff to length. So we'll grab a drill, a screwdriver. And some of these hopefully we can just unscrew, hopefully they'll just whiz straight out. They're a bit bent, but if they're reasonably straight, usually they will. That will come out okay. And I think, luckily, they've only got screws on one side of them. That one's bent over. Oh, might be able to just wind that one out. You can't see what I'm doing here. One here that's really, really bent over. I'll just get it down. Ooh. I'm zooming in a little bit. There we are. There's one here that's like really, really bent over, but you can just actually just spin it around with your fingers, and fortunately they're like a really coarse thread on these screws. Well, look, quite a coarse thread, and they actually seem to come out really, really easily. And they're like a decking screw or something like that, I think. There's one left in this one here. I'll just see if we can get that one out. Yeah. So that's the first one. So that one's, yeah, there's no other screws on any of the other sides, so that's the first one that's okay to use. We'll put that to one side, and we'll go through and just get the rest of these screws out. So again, that one is really bent over, but hopefully I can't get that to turn with my fingers like that, but we might be able to get a pair of pliers or some grips on it or something, and get it to turn. Let's see. I'd rather it didn't break off, because although we've got a rage saw, so it doesn't bother too much about cutting through metal and screws. The blade's actually designed for that, but it's better if we can get it out. There we go. That's one's out there. And you can see if these ones here will unscrew. Yep, that one's out. That one come out okay. Got any more in that? Just one at the end here. Just got one down here to do. Okay, and that one came out okay. So that's 2. In fact, what I'll do, I'll just pause the video, I'll whiz these other few screws out and we can come back when we can start marking this wood up. So back in a tick. Right, well we're back and we've got all 4 pieces now, all de-screwed, no problem with that. There was a nail in the end of one of them, but I just got hold of it with them gas grips and twisted it a few times and that just popped out. So these are really good. I mean, there's no rot in these at all, they're just a bit filthy and it doesn't really match what I'm using them for. We could, if we was doing something, you know, fancy, we could plane all this down and stain it and what have you, but this is just literally a working item for in here. It doesn't have to be pretty or anything like that. It's just going to be the same finish as my workbench here, just as it is. What I really want though is it to be about the same height when it's finished as my workbench, because the plan is that it's going to slide in this this space here basically, and that's kind of dictate its size as well. So we've got 550 mil there, so and we've got 550 there, that's to the about to the door frame, and the saw itself, which is over here, is about 500 mil by, it sticks out a bit at the back, but there's not a lot we can do about that. So I suppose if I built the thing, say 500 by 600, that'd work out really well. That's for this saw, and like I said, it also fit my other chop saw on it. So height wise, let's have a look here. We're at exactly, 3 foot there, which is, give it roughly 90, so 900. So we want our legs, which we're going to make out of this, to be basically, it's going to be 900, so we can write on this, so it's going to be 900 minus the height of the wheels which I've got, which are about 100. They're 75 mil wheels, and then you've got about 25 mil for the working gear on them and what have you. So we can say we want these at 800 minus the thickness of what we're going to have for the top of this thing. Now all I've got really that's probably going to be suitable for the top of this is some of these. I'll break these out of a skip just really as the lockdown was starting. There was an office being cleared in the village, and I grabbed these, and that's a funny light I've got in the car, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet. But it's shelving. I think it's probably used on like one of them decks and shelving systems, which is really good, thick, solid pine board. So I was hoping I could make the top out of that. In fact, there's plenty of it to make the top. What would we say we want to put 2 of them together? There we go, we've got our 500 and we've obviously got our 600 that way, no problem. So 2 of them are going to make the top for this. We've got another one there we can possibly use in this, I don't know, but we've definitely got our top sorted out there. The shelf lower down won't have to be as substantial. We might be able to use some of the leftover OSB that I've got from making this place, at least to put the shelf in it. It just has to be able to take my transformer down there. Right, so we now know we need 800 on these minus whatever thickness that is. So let's measure that up. No, that is 20. That's 20 mils. So we are down to 780. So 780. So we know we need to cut all 4 of these at 780. That's going to be our leg length. It's just deciding which is going to be the best way, which is going to be the best side to cut it from. Being that that's what's been up on the top. The ends here are what got hammered into them posts. Now they're not rotten at all, they've just got a bit of grooving on them from that. I'm probably going to leave that, because if there's anything I want to cut off, it's probably them end pieces. So we'll start from this side here, because this is probably the better. It's certainly bone dry, where that's where I pulled the metal ends off. Is still a little bit on the damp side. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Let me see if I can move some of the light round towards. Oh, that's hot. I've got two little LED lights in here which are not as bright, but they're cool, and I've got one of the old-fashioned 50-watt halogens in here which is nice and bright, but it's bloody hot to touch. Right, so what did we say? We said we want 780 from this end here, so we'll measure up 780 if we put a mark on. There we go. Do the next one. So we want 780. And that one. Hang on, I made a mistake then, didn't I? Yeah, I made a mistake. That's 780 there, and I went right up to 8 today. I measured twice, cut once, so I always remember that. Ignore that one. Right. 780. So that is going to be our length for our legs, our uprights. So what I will do is I'll just pause the video and I'll get my chop saw set up, and we can cut these legs, and then we've got the rest of this to measure up to actually make the rest of the framework really. So I'll just pause, we'll be back when I've got my chop saw set up. Okay, we're back. You'll have to apologise about that buzzing, but it's the 110 volt transformer that I have to use with this saw, because it's a 110 volt saw this. It is getting God. Right, first thing I will say is I will not recommend anyone use a saw in this condition. It doesn't have any safety guards on it. I've been using old equipment like this for a very, very long time. I know how to respect the fact that it hasn't got a guard on it. I make sure my fingers are nowhere near it. Do as I say, not as I do, basically. It's not recommended, really. But yeah, this saw will cut through basically anything with the blade that it's got in it there. They're quite an interesting saw, these, because they're designed to cut through virtually anything. So you can cut steel, aluminium, plastics. There are dedicated wood blades you can put in it, but it's like a ridiculously high torque motor. It runs through a gearbox, and basically it will chomp through anything. I've cut things you're not meant to cut on this saw. That's why it's really in the state that it's in. They're not really designed for professional use, just more very enthusiastic consumer use. I have used these commercially. I have built actually quite large projects using a few of these saws. I tried some of the cheaper versions of the Evolution and I killed them in under a week. These ones seem to last quite well, I must admit. Anyway, let's go and see if we can chop some of this timber. Now, it does have a laser on this, but I will say it's not 100% accurate, the laser. We'll see how accurate it is now if we get the blade and put it. Oh, actually, yeah, it's not. It's looking about right, so hopefully we should be able to cut this with a. It is about as large a larger cut as this saw will actually do. I must admit, but it's cut it well enough. So that's our first leg cut. Let's get another one now. Get another one on the go. I won't trouble you through all of these, and I should have said before I started cutting there, watch your, if you got headphones on, turn your volume down for Christ's sake, because it's going to get noisy. If I can figure out how to put a caption in there, I'll try and put a caption in there, but I can't promise anything. Right, let's do that again. The only worrying thing with this saw is occasionally it does kick back on you, so you do, like I say, especially when you're not having a guard on, you do have to be kind of like super careful. But that one cut alright. Let's see if we can do it again. Yeah, that cut alright. I won't bore you through the rest of them. I'll just pause you while I put the other two, and then we'll come back when we want to start marking up the rest of the timber. So back in a second. Okay, so we've got our 4 legs cut there. This is what we've got left over. So out of this, what we need to basically do is make something that's going to make this thing sturdy together. I was wondering actually where to put the bracing we're going to make out of this, whether to put it at the top or at the bottom or in the middle. I'm still undecided yet, but what we can do is figure out what lengths we need to cut this at. Basically what we're making is going to be, well, the top I think we're going to have overhang slightly, but basically what we want this to be 500. So 500 mil by 600 mil. So what we want is, well, what's the depth of that? Now that's exactly 15 there. So 15, half of 15 is 7.5, isn't it? Yeah, so that's 7. So the 7.5 centimeters. So that's 75 mil thick each. Let's just check that they are square. Yes, they are. So they're 7.5 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters. Right. So 2 together. So our 500. Is now 5, 4, 350, isn't it? Yeah. So we need 2 at 350. Well, that's if we're going to do a butt joint on them. Are we going to do a butt joint and just put some screws through it to hold together, or are we going to actually put a proper joint on? We're probably going to want to put a proper joint on these. So let's account for that. So if we make the 500s 400 and we make the 600 500, that should be enough for us to put a like a half joint into the end of it. In fact, do we want to do a full joint all the way across? No, I think we could do like a half joint into it. I think that would work okay. I'm just contemplating, like I say, I'm making this up as I go along. I'm not just trying to decide what type of joint to fit the two things together. We can go the full 15, so we'd need if we're going to go the full length, we'd need 500, and then we'd come in, wouldn't we? Yeah, we might do that actually. Let's just measure this up actually. Let's have a think now. So if we did 500, which is there, then we come in our 7.5. which is there. And we're coming in at 7.5 on this side, which is there. What have we got in our middle bit there? Just make sure that's right there. So 500. So we've got our 35. So yeah, that'll work. I think that's what we're going to do. We'll cut 2 at 500. We'll cut 2 at 600, and we'll do proper half joints. We'll do proper half joints on them, and then it'll all go together quite nicely. So. Right, we want 1 at 500 there. We'll cut this one as well at 500. Like that. And then we want 2 at 600 as well for the other length. 600 there. 600 there. So right, what I'll do is I'll get these out of the way, I'll get the saw set back up again, I can get these cut to length, and we'll take it from there. In fact, yeah, I'll just leave you recording. I don't think I need to stop it. I'll move them out of the way. Ooh, ow. The saw back in. Right. There we go, that's the saw back in. And now as soon as I switch the saw back on, we'll trip the power out, because that's the only problem I seem to have at the moment. Oh no, it made it this time. Usually when I switch the transformer on, it trips the breaker and I have to reset it, but I mean, it's no hardship that really. Right, so we should have a mark on here. There we go, there's the mark. Start back like that. Yes, just make sure that's right. I think the laser's there. Fine. See what I mean about sometimes it kicks the saw? That's what it does. I'm glad I caught that actually. You just have to be ready for it. Just whip that little bit off there. Anyway, I'll pause the video and we'll get back as soon as I've cut the other ones with these lengths. So back shortly. Okay, sorry about that folks. I thought I'd hit record before and I must have been waffling along to myself for the last 20 minutes. Basically what I've done, I finished off cutting them blocks there, and then I decided what would I do with the timber that we had left. So basically what I've done is that's 600, 500, that's 45 and those are 35. Now those will fit where we're going to take out the half joints there, basically. These are the inside of that. So another part of the frame, whether I do it halfway down the top, whatever, I can screw all the way right through the timber with some really long screws that I've got. These. Got some really long screws if you look like that. So we can utilise all of this timber to make the frame work. So one will be with like a lap joint, the other piece will be basically just buttered up but with really big long screws going all the way through. What that means is that there is the only waste wood I've got from using the entire fence stumps, so that'll go nicely on my fire tonight. So nothing gets wasted basically. So we've got all our timbers cut out of the fence posts, plus obviously the bits that I've got the bits that I've got here for the top, and I'm going to have to find something for like the shelf down, and possibly if I can do something for another shelf, I don't know yet. It would be nice to have 2 shelves on there. I've got some other timber we could use for a framework for a thinner shelf at the bottom actually, which we'll go into that as the next video anyway, because this video is already going to be quite long, longer than I was expecting to actually make. So in the next video, hopefully my casters will have arrived. So we can do the jointing on here, we can do the half joints, and if the casters have arrived, we can cut the top, see what we can do for a second shelf, and actually put this thing together and see if it's going to work out the way I actually want it to. So I'm going to leave it there for now. So this is going to be part 1 of like a 2-part video. Like I said, whatever you do, don't take this as a way to do woodwork or anything like that. This is just me messing around in my new workshop using tools which should really be consigned to the bin, but it's all I've got and it's all I can afford at the moment. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this part 1. So thanks for watching and goodbye.